Welcome to the CEO's blog this week, halfway through the Sky Carnival of Miracles, and it kicked off last Friday night at Newcastle with the AVE Technologies Newcastle Mile, and what a race it was. The mile was won brilliantly, won by local pacer the Black Prince, won by Paul Borg, superbly trained by Roy Roots Jr. and brilliantly driven by Robbie Morris in 151.1. Despite the late scratching of the star attraction Lochinvar Art, the big crowd cheered home the winner enthusiastically as the Black Prince became the first horse automatically into the $1 million Garrard's Miracle Mile, and a just reward for Paul and Roy, who put so much into our sport, particularly in the Hunter region. The 7-horse Newcastle Mile also became the highest holding harness race on the New South Wales TAB for this financial year, and all congratulations must go to Chairman Darryl Rogers and his committee, Wayne Smith and Jane Hextall, for a fantastic promotion. The traditional Miracle Mile controversy emerged following the late withdrawal of Lochinvar Art on Friday afternoon. Lochinvar Art must now rely on a veterinary examination and then an invitation from the directors of Club Menangle if the horse is to gain a place in the richest harness race in Australasia. At Tabcorp Park Menangle on Saturday night, the Cordina Chicken Farm's Chariots of Fire demanded all the attention, with victory going to Expensive Ego, and in doing so, the horse secured the second automatic position in the Miracle Mile. Owned by Jason Grice, the injury-plagued horse is trained by Belinda McCarthy and was driven by Luke McCarthy, having been previously trained by David Thorne, who had an almost unbeaten record with Expensive Ego. The support feature at Menangle Park was the Therese Cordina Robin Dundee Stakes, which was won by Margita, whilst the heats of the New South Wales Oaks were won by Tough Tilly, Joanna and Beach Music. All 4 horses were trained by Emma Stewart. This Saturday, the feature races are the 2 qualifying Allied and Swept sprints for the Miracle Mile, the Cordina Ladyship Mile, the John Gibson Memorial New South Wales Oaks, the Fran Fitzpatrick Cheryl McDowell Pink Bonnet, and 3 heats of the New South Wales Derby. On Saturday night, the field will be finalised for the Garrard's Miracle Mile, and the barrier draw will take place trackside at around 9 p.m, which will, if possible, be telecast on Sky 2. And whilst Harness Racing New South Wales always has the strongest security protocols in place, strategies are always enhanced during the major carnivals, which many would have noticed this past week. The retention barn and other facilities will be in full use. And racing returned to Riverina Paceway Wagga this week, with racing on Tuesday night, the first winner, I Can See, trained by Mark Fletcher and driven by Bruce Harpley. The track came up to standard for the trainers and drivers. However, Harness Racing New South Wales believes there's a little bit more work to be done there. Whilst the track surface performed to expectations, contractors will undertake additional works as required by Harness Racing New South Wales in the coming 2 weeks to provide a surface suitable for the Riverina 4 and 5-year-old championships to be conducted at Easter. All accolades must be given to the track curator Matt and the committee members who worked tirelessly to get the track to a point racing could proceed on Tuesday night. The first winner on resumption of racing was Billy's Bred One, trained by David Micallef and driven by his son Blake. In winning, Blake gave a salute to his best mate Nick Dewar, who tragically died in a motor vehicle accident 3 years ago, with Tuesday being the anniversary of the sad loss of young Nick. May he rest in peace. And the Women Can Team TEAL promotion rolls on, with trainers and drivers, female as they be, winning races at every meeting across New South Wales in this past week. Harness Racing New South Wales donates $200 for every female driven winner and $100 for every winner trained by a female. With our ambassador bonuses and the Owners Association top-up, if the horse is trained, driven and solely owned by a female, the New South Wales fundraising effort is moving towards our target of $50,000. Alana Pitt, as the owner, trainer and driver of Soho Beijing at Wagga on Tuesday night, added handsomely to the fund. Other highlights for the week were Phoebe Betts driving 5 winners. Emma Stewart, as the trainer, teamed up with Amanda Turnbull and Kate Gath with 4 winners at Tabcorp Park Menangle. Belinda McCarthy trained 4 winners. Amanda Turnbull trained and drove 3 winners. Kate Gath landed a double at Tabcorp Park Menangle. Mary Rando and Kerry McDowell, who train in partnership with their husbands, landed winners. And Kerry Ann Morris had 3 training winners, including with Alicia Bond, who aboard Gold Sovereign on Tuesday at Menangle Park landed her very first winner, which added $1,000 alone to the fund for ovarian cancer research. On top of what Harness Racing New South Wales is raising, Tabcorp are donating $200 for every female winning driver across Australia, whilst Club Menangle donates $200 to every winner driven by a female at Tabcorp Park Menangle. And don't forget, the Australian Pacing Gold Sale is next Sunday. That is Sunday, March 7, the day after the Miracle Mile. But on the Friday night, before the Miracle Mile, of course, we have the New South Wales Owners Association barbecue and yearling parade, another function not to be mixed. So it's a busy weekend next weekend with the yearling parade, the Miracle Mile, and of course the sale, where you can, more than likely, secure your champion. I encourage all owners to enter their horses in the yearling parade. Harness Racing New South Wales will provide New South Wales Breeders' Challenge Series sustaining certificates for 3 fillies and 3 colts, that's 6 in total, randomly drawn from the horses paraded. Whilst all trotting bred yearlings sold at the sale will automatically become Trot New South Wales sustained at no cost to the purchasers. Other awards will be presented courtesy of International Animal Health to the filly and colt judged as the best presented in the parade. And don't forget, the delicious barbecue will be manned by Rob Nalder and Adam Fairley, naturally under the watchful eyes of Chief Chef Flora Robson. And catalogues are available for the Bathurst Gold Crown yearling sales to be held on March 21. There are 90 quality lots to be offered from a wide selection of stallions. The catalogues can be secured from Graham Board or the Bathurst Harness Racing Club. You may have noticed Tamworth last week conducted a rare Wednesday afternoon meeting. This occurred because of a reshuffle, as we've had to the whole calendar during COVID. Hopefully, the calendar will settle in the coming months. But at that meeting, what may in the future not be a rarity was the fact Tom Ison landed 5 winners. And Tom landed the 5 winners on the 8-race program. 2 of the winners were for his father Andy, and likewise a double for Richard Williams. The other winner was trained by Brendan James. And a special thank you for those people who send me in little bits of information that sometimes I miss, which are important to our participants here in New South Wales. One of those little pieces of information was that I missed the fact that our New South Wales Trot of the Year, Tough Monarch, won the Night Pistol at Melton a couple of weeks ago. Well done to the connections, well done to Ricky Olchin as he sets this horse for the Trotters Mile. Group 2 race, $50,000 on Miracle Mile night. Congratulations to anybody that's won a race throughout New South Wales or interstate in the past couple of weeks and every week. As you would have noticed, the COVID update is being pushed further and further back into the blog, and that's where we wanted, out of the blog actually. As we see it now, everybody is allowed into the stable areas. Of course, for the carnival at Menangle, there will be security, there will be restrictions, so work with the club and security, make sure you're accredited to be in those areas. Masks still must be worn in restricted spaces such as stewards' rooms and swab stalls. Where we can, whatever we do, we look after our personal hygiene, wash our hands, keep a social distance, as they're still suggesting, the government that is. But one really important point is drivers' colours. The colours which are published in the race book are the colours that a driver must wear in a race. There has a lot of flow-on effect from these colours. They go right through to what is published in the newspapers and what is shown on Sky. So please, drivers, make every effort to wear the colours as they are published. This past week, Harness Racing New South Wales announced 4 more awards, very important awards, for 2020. The Tabcorp Sire of the Year was $1 Million Cam, owned by Yerriby Pacing Stud, Rod Woodhouse and Di Sutherland. The Tabcorp Broodmare of the Year was Shout Aloud, owned by Brooklyn Lodge, Janet and Doug Moore, and Mel and Benny Setri. The Tabcorp Breeder of the Year was Ben Stud, operated by Craig Judd, with winners JOK, Spirit King, Pat Speedstorm and many others. Whilst the Tabcorp Owner of the Year was Braden Scar from Leeton. His best was Adira, but he also had Coolhound Eastern, Silent Rapture and quite a few others which he owned in partnership. Due to COVID, the awards will be presented at industry functions and events over the coming weeks to the worthy recipients. And next week, Harness Racing New South Wales will release the outcome of the review into the regional boundaries, as well as the confirmed conditions for the 2021 New South Wales Breeders' Challenge and Trots New South Wales series. That's it for the week. If you can't be at the track, make sure you watch it on Sky, and for extra special coverage of Menangle Park on Saturday night, Sky Active is the place you should be. The barrier draw may possibly be for the Miracle Mile on Sky 2, depending on programming and clashes. Have a great week, be positive and enjoy your harness racing here in New South Wales or anywhere across Australia.